What actually makes Kotlin Flow so powerful in modern Android developments? In this episode, we finally getting hands-on with Kotlin Flow basics and create our first flow step by step. In the previous episode, we understand the difference between live data and Kotlin Flow and understand why Kotlin Flow is becoming the preferred choice in modern Android apps. And now it's time to move from theory to practical implementation, and in this video we will cover following concept: how to create your first Kotlin flow, use of flow builders like Flow, flowOf and asFlow, the difference between collect versus collectLatest, exception handling and retry mechanism. So let's get started. So creating a first Kotlin flow, so for that we will create a new repository in data package named as counter repository, and in that we will create a function named as get counter, and which will return type of this one will be flow of integer values. So press Alt Enter to import this flow, and make sure that while importing import this kotlinx.coroutines.flow package, and in here we will use a flow method which create the instance of the flow. So press Alt Enter to import it, and in that we will run a loop from 1 to 10, from 1 to 5, and emit these value one by one in the flow. And now we need to collect these values to do some processing. So for that we will go to our main view model, and in here we will create an instance of this counter repository. And in the init block we will remove this previous code and call this get counter method and collect these values. So in this collect block we will get these counter values from 1 to 5 one by one. So we will print those values in the logs. Okay, and here we are getting the error that this collect function is a suspend function, so we cannot call it from the from the normal function. So we can only call this from a coroutine scope or from other suspend function. So we will wrap this in coroutine scope, view model scope dot launch, and move this code of log in here. Okay, so now let's run the app and observe these values through logs. And in the logcat we will copy this tag value and paste it in here to filter the logs and only see this main view model logs. Okay, so we are only getting this one value. This is because we have accidentally emit only one value from here. So here I will emit this I variable value and run the app again. Okay, so our app is up and running, and we are seeing this counter value from 1 to 5. Okay, so now the second point is use of flow builders like Flow, flowOf and asFlow. These are the builder functions which are used to create the instance of the Kotlin flow. And one important concept to understand here is that these builder functions create a call streams, which means that the code of block within this builder function won't be executed until someone start collecting these flows. So the first one is the flow, which is the which is the most flexible flow builders, which allows us to manually emit values in this coroutine block using emit functions. And the second one is the flowOf. I will copy this code of log, paste it in here, and comment this first code of log, and in here I will use the flowOf method and pass the values in it. So this builder function is used to convert the fixed set of values to the flow. So we can provide any kind of values, number of static values in here to convert these into the flow. And the third function is the asFlow function, which is an extension function and converts an existing collection of collections into a flow. So that collection can be a list, arrays, or a range of values. So let's say I will copy this code, comment this previous one, and in here create a set of list values. So list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in here I will return values dot asFlow and press Alt Enter to import this. So now we are converting this list to the flow to collect these values reactively. We can do same thing for arrays. Array of or that values can be a range of values, let's say from 1 to 5. The difference between collect versus collectLatest. So one of the most important concept in Flow is that understanding how collectors handle incoming values. The main difference between collect and collectLatest is what happens when a new value arrives while the previous value is still being processed. So the collect function process every emitted value sequentially, which means that in our main view model we have used this collect function. So this function will process every emitted value sequentially. So whenever any new value arrive and the previous value processing is haven't finished yet, then this will first complete the previous value processing, then handle the new upcoming value. So no values are skipped in this by using this method. And the second method is the collectLatest. And the behavior of this one is that let's say if this function is processing any current value and the new value arrive, then this will cancel the existing processing and try to start processing the new value. So here if we use collectLatest and in the counter repository we are sending values from 1 to 5. Actually I will comment this code of log and go back to our previous one. And in here we are emitting the values from 1 to 5. So in the main view model we are using the collectLatest. So let's run the app and see the behavior of this one. So opening the logcat and clearing the previous logs. Okay, so our app is up and running and we are seeing all these counter values from 1 to 5 in the collectLatest as well. This is happening because we are not doing any data processing work in this block. That's why whenever new value arrives, then the previous value execution is already completed. That's why no value is being skipped. So let's say here we will add a delay of 500 milliseconds. Press Alt Enter to import this function, and let's say here we are processing some data. And now if I run the app and clear this previous logs. Okay, so our app is up and running and we are again seeing these values from 1 to 5. So this is because we have added a delay after this logcat. If I move this before this line of log.d then and run the app again. Okay, so now we are getting the 5 value in our logs, so which means that whenever the current value is current value data processing is in progress, but the new value arrives, then that execution is being cancelled. So at the end, when the last value, which is the 5, is collected here, then we are seeing that value in the logs, because only that value code of log will be completely executed. So collectLatest is useful for some cases like for UI related tasks like search queries or fast updates. And our fourth point is the exception handling, that how we can handle exception in the flow. So I will remove this code, use collect again, and let's say in our counter repository, when the value is 3, then we throw an exception. Illegal argument exception, and otherwise we will emit the value. So now how we will handle this on the main view model side, where we are collecting the values from the flow. So here we will use the catch function which provide us the exception. So we can do multiple things here. Let's say we can print that print that exception information in the log. And this is the one thing, and the second thing is we can also emit some default value from here. Let's say if the exception has occurred, then we can emit a default value -1. So let's run the app and see the behavior of this exception catching. Okay, so our app is up and running, and we are seeing these values 1, 2, and after that the exception has occurred. So that exception information has been printed in the logs, and after that we are getting the default value -1 in this collect method. So that default value can be used for multiple ways. Let's say if any specific exception occur, then we can present a certain message on the UI side, or we can do any other or we can show any specific dialog for a specific exception. And the next is how we can retry the request. Let's say here this is a get counter function, and assume that we are getting some counter information from the network or from the server. So in that case, let's say if this request is triggered and we are not going to get data from the server due to slow internet connectivity, then we will get the exception, timeout exception. So we will throw the timeout exception from here. Unable to load data. And on so how we can retry to get the data again. So for that purpose, here we can use the retry method and also provide the number of retries. Let's say we want to retry 3 times if the timeout exception have been occurred. So we will compare that if this exception is timeout exception, then retry this request. So let's run the app and verify this through logs. Okay, so our app is up and running, and in here we are seeing this. Actually, I need to add some log here to know that when the request has been retrying. So counter retry and run the app again. Okay, so our app is up and running, and we are seeing this information in the logs. Let's say in the first call of get counter method, we are getting the 1, 2, and after that the exception occurred at value 3. So retrying first time, second time, and third time. But every time if the retry threshold has been completed and we are still getting the timeout exception, then that exception will be traversed through this cache block, and we are seeing this crash in this exception information in the logs, and after that the default value will be emitted. So in this episode we will learn the core fundamentals of Kotlin Flow, which are create your first Kotlin Flow, the difference between collect versus collectLatest, use of flow builders like flow, asFlow, and flowOf, exception handling, and retry mechanism. And in the next episode we will cover the most important concept named as cold flow, So we will cover what is call flow, practical Android examples, multiple collector behavior, and how to convert a call flow into float flow. So this is it for today's episode. I hope you find it valuable. If you have any query, let me know in comments below. Thank you for watching. Bye.